Hey YouTube, I am here. I want to talk about packing for a trip to India and Nepal because I am currently packing for a trip to India and Nepal and the kinds of things that you should pack that I recommend. I was in Varanasi previously, Varanasi, Haridwar, Rishikesh, and Kathmandu in Nepal. And so from my experience, this is what I can recommend. First of all, I recommend taking your own water purifier. And the one that I have here, this is excellent. This is the Camelback All Clear Microbiological UV Water Purifier. And so what this is, you have this water bottle. It has a lid with a handle, but you also get this part that will purify the water using UV. And what's important about this is that not only does it kill bacteria, it also kills viruses. It kills all sorts of stuff. I went to REI and asked them, and this is what they recommended. And it worked wonders. It was really fabulous to have this. And what you do is you screw on the top here, you push the button, it has a UV thing, you shake your water to make sure the UV stuff gets all parts of the water, kills all the bugs. Take this off, and then you can put your normal lid back on and carry it. I recommend this one because there's another style where the water is purified when you suck it through a straw, but you might not always be using this for drinking water. You might want to use this water for, washing your fruits and vegetables. You might want to use it for, like, I don't know, washing, like, body piercings in my case. I was really concerned about not getting bacteria in my body piercings. So it has a lot of uses to be able to purify water in this way. Now, of course, you can buy bottled water in India. There's no shortage of places to buy bottled water. But, then you're stuck having to buy bottled water. With this was like $100. I don't have to worry about finding a place to buy bottled water. I don't have to worry about carrying water around to my hotel room. When I was out on the trains, this was really helpful because I didn't have to jump off the train at one of the stops to get a bottle of water really quick. I could take water from any tap, anywhere, even water that Indian people won't drink, as long as it's not like full of, dirt and grit and stuff like that. If it's clear water, you can pull it from any tap and turn it into drinking water. And this was so incredibly helpful. Also, in India, there are many places that have issues with sanitation with regards to garbage. That here in the U.S., we're used to being able to just recycle our plastic bottles, but there, in many places, recycling is not available, and in many places, garbage pickup isn't really available. Well, people will just, scoop the garbage into a pile and then burn it. And you end up with a lot of, really toxic, disgusting plastic burning. And you also end up with litter everywhere. So, I did not want to contribute to more plastic garbage in India. I was very glad to have this. I highly, highly recommend it. It is worth the investment. And I go camping a lot anyway, so this is something I'm going to use a lot. I bought it at REI. It is the Camelback All Clear Microbiological UV Water Purifier. Absolutely must have. Next up, shoes. So I packed several pairs of shoes the first time. One pair was this pair, which is these really cute, stylish, strappy things that I love and wear all the time. They're incredibly comfortable. I love them. However, even like this, even just having a zipper at the back made it so much more difficult to get these on and off. And, depending on where you go in India, you might end up having to take your shoes off a lot. Often if you go into stores, you have to take off your shoes, traditional stores. If you go into temples, you take off your shoes. If you go into people's homes, you take off your shoes. There's a lot of places where they want you to take off your shoes. And also, when you go into your own hotel room, you probably want to take your shoes off because, it's really dirty and dusty, and you don't really want to be tracking all of this stuff into your room. Just having this zipper on the back, like this is not a difficult zipper, but it was just enough to make it really, really annoying. Also, these shoes have like no traction and they are incredibly flimsy. And the streets can get really muddy and there's like cow shit everywhere. And so I was just slipping around. I thought I was going to break my ankle in these because my feet were slipping around in the shoe. I had no traction on the ground. It was terrible. They're very cute. I love them. I wear them all the time. But they're not something I'm packing to go to India. The shoes that I did pack are these. These are from Skechers, and they are plastic, or rubber, I guess, which makes it really easy to wash because, things get really dirty and muddy and dusty. And so every few days I would just like wash off the shoes, keep them clean, looking relatively nice. But they have good traction. The straps hold the feet securely, and they're really easy to get in and out of. If you're concerned about your feet being cold, don't worry. In India, you can buy socks like the Japanese style tabby socks, where the big toe is separate from the rest of the toes. So you can wear sandals with a toe thing with these socks. Or, I mean, you can buy these socks before you leave. But I didn't really find it necessary to have socks. It wasn't that cold at all, really. So shoes. What I also recommend is having a flashlight, a small flashlight, little LED light there. This was really useful when walking around at night because some of the places, especially when I was out in Rishikesh, there is just no street lighting anywhere. There's just no light anywhere. Just, the light of the moon and the stars. And, the occasional little houses or buildings might have some light. But it was so helpful to have this flashlight. And a lot of women in India, if they walk alone at night, walk with a flashlight just for personal safety. I did not feel unsafe walking alone at night. But then I also live in the Bay Area and people get murdered on my street. So I have a very different sort of sense of personal safety, I guess. But a flashlight, very important. You absolutely need this, and you absolutely need to carry it with you at night. Even in the city of Varanasi, there are some dark alleys, and the streets are, bumpy and uneven, and there's cow shit everywhere. And so if you have a little flashlight, you can see where you're walking and not step in cow shit or slip on, trip over a brick or a stone in the middle of the street. Absolutely have to have a flashlight. You also need to have copies of your passport here. Take a lot of copies of your passport because everywhere that you stay in India is going to want a photocopy of your passport. If you're staying in major hotels, they will make the photocopy for you. If you're staying in ashrams or some of the smaller guest houses, they might ask you to go make a photocopy. And it's just really annoying. It's just like one more hassle you have to deal with finding a place to make photocopies. So just, take like 1,000,000 copies of your passport. You will use them. Also, I found it really helpful to have a bunch of little passport-sized photographs. And I got these done actually there. I didn't know that I needed them. But I needed them because I was getting a cell phone. And they wanted a passport-sized photograph in order for you to get a cell phone. Also, when going into Nepal, if you do the visa on arrival, you will have to provide a passport-sized photograph for your Nepali visa. You can do it in the airport, but it's really annoying, and everyone does it, and you have to stand in line forever. So if you're going to Nepal in particular, take passport-sized photos. If you want a cell phone in India, also take passport-sized photos. And I mean, I don't know what else you might need them for, but I'm taking a lot this time because, I might be renting a car or a motorcycle. I don't know what else they might need them for. So I'm taking a lot, along with a lot of my passport copies, just in case. I mean, you should have a copy of your passport anyway in case you lose it, but take really a lot of extra copies. So, when I was preparing for my trip, I had a bunch of friends trying to convince me that I needed to take a day pack. And I'm like, what the hell do I need a day pack for? I'm staying in cities. I'm not going hiking. I'm just doing normal tourist stuff. So what I ended up packing for my so-called day pack was this, small sort of regular purse that I take with. This is like my hiking purse. It's big enough to fit like, my tree identification books and my knife and a bottle of water. And, like that's it. I don't know how much else you need. This is like a normal purse-sized bag. And this was even too big. Like, I don't know what people are putting in their day packs. All these tourists were wandering around with backpacks and huge things. Like, I don't know what you all are carrying, but you don't need it. You really don't. I mean, what you have, like your wallet, you have your cash, you have your keys, you have your phone, maybe a camera. What more do you need to carry with you? You really don't need anything. Oh, bottled water. My Camelback bottle fits in here perfectly. So, I mean, this is a really good size for a day pack sort of thing. I also took this. This is my little running little waist thing. It's very small. It essentially fits like phone and keys and cash, and that's it. And this was really, really nice to have because it's small enough I could just slip it underneath my sari. I felt very secure with it. I didn't need to carry a lot of stuff. It wasn't like dangling all over. I could get on a motorcycle without having to like hold on a ton of things and hold on to the motorcycle at the same time. It was very, very convenient to have this, and it just fits like phone, cash, keys, and that was all I really needed most of the places where I went in India and Nepal as well. So, clothes. Now, I was in northern India and Nepal in February and March, and even then it was really humid and it was warmer than what I'm used to here. And so I took a bunch of cute knit shirts, including these cute little crop top shirts to wear as cholis with my sari. This is, used as a sari blouse. I mean, this is just a regular crop top that people use, but I was wearing it with my sari blouse. I also had, other knit garments such as socks and underwear, and I don't know what it is, but the knit fabric does not dry, like ever. I was hand washing my clothes and hanging them to dry in the room, and the knit fabrics just would not dry. Like I had a bra that I just wore it wet because it got to a point where it's been drying for like 3 days and it's still wet. And I don't know quite what to do about like bras and panties, where to find non-knit fabrics for those, but whatever, I'll deal with it. Socks, I hung my socks to dry in the window because that was the only way to get them to dry, and then monkeys stole them out of my window. It was really awful. So what I'm going to do this time is pack absolutely minimal, really no knit clothes at all. I bought some woven fabric clothes while I was in India, the Indian style women's shirts, which are kind of long and nice and modest anyway. Yoga pants, I'm going to go minimal on the yoga pants and knit leggings because, again, the fabrics it's too difficult to get them to dry. It just takes forever. And I'm going to focus more on the Indian, they call them Punjabi suits, or there's several other names that you'll hear them called, but it's a long shirt and pants. You can either get them kind of poofy and big or more narrow. but they're all from woven fabrics, and they're very breathable. I mean, you're going to this place, this foreign country, where, they have their own traditional styles of clothing, and they have these traditional styles of clothing for a reason, because having this style of knit pants, or having this style of woven pants that's kind of loose, and having this style of long shirt that's woven and kind of loose is really, really nice and comfortable. So I recommend that you pack, very minimal on this kind of Western clothes, and then when you get there, ladies, get some Punjabi suits. Guys, I don't know, there's other menswear you can get. But make sure to get woven fabrics, because that stuff will dry like, it's so easy. It's much better. I'm not going to take like any knit fabric clothes at all. Also, like little pocket tissues, and make sure they're biodegradable as well. Check the package. Get biodegradable um, pocket tissues, because when you're on the trains, you're literally just kind of, pissing into a hole in the bottom of the train, and all of the waste goes out into the tracks. So anything you put down that hole ends up out on the tracks. So if you're going to put paper into the toilet on the train, it's going to end up on the tracks, and it needs to be biodegradable. Same thing, don't toss your plastic or your, bags of chips or whatever. I mean, because then you have like plastic blowing around all over the Indian countryside, and that's just not what you want to be doing. But anyway, let's see. Oh, so when I came back from India, a lot of my Indian friends asked me, "Did you get sick? Did you get sick?" And I'm like, "Yes, but I was really sick with respiratory illness and, upper respiratory problems." And many places in India, the air quality is not so fabulous. Um, the roads are dirty and dusty, so there's a lot of dust in the air. People burn their garbage, so you get that in the air. And the emissions standards for the vehicles are not like California. California has always had very high emission standards. And so the streets can be really, really dusty and polluted. And I got so, so sick. I had terrible sinusitis. I had a terrible cough. I was having trouble breathing. And so what you'll see people do is um, women in particular will cover their faces with their shawl or their scarf and just hold it over their face. I found that was not enough. I started putting water on mine, hoping that the water would help protect a little bit more, from the particulate matter in the air. And it was particularly bad riding the auto rickshaws, because in some of them, like, the engine is literally underneath your feet in front of you, and it's spewing just dust, or it's spewing, black smoke and everything. That's just awful. It's really, really bad. I don't know how anyone can breathe in India. And a lot of my friends here have said that, oh, I went back to visit my mother, and within 3 days I had lost my voice because the air quality was so bad and my throat was so sore. So this time what I'm doing is I'm taking some of these style of masks. You see people wearing like the medical surgical style of mask, particularly in Nepal. A lot of people wore those, and you could buy them like cute fabric styles. The air quality in Kathmandu was not nearly as bad as it was in India, but I saw more people wearing masks in Kathmandu than in India. So I'm going to take some of these masks. I'm also, just in case, I'm going to take a heavy-duty mask as well. I don't know if this is really necessary, but I'm really just that paranoid. And in order to not look strange, you can either, you wear these while you're riding on, the auto rickshaws or the motorcycles or whatever. And then you can either cover your face with your shawl or your scarf, or take your fashionable red cowboy bandana and use that to cover your face and to cover your mask. So, I mean, some people were just, I thought I could just use the bandana to cover my face, but it was not enough. I'm going to be serious about using these masks because I was so incredibly sick. I did not have any digestive, gastrointestinal issues. It was all upper respiratory. And if you do end up with upper respiratory illness, the Himalaya brand cough drops and cough syrup are really, really good and really saved me. And I also had some sort of cold medicine that they gave me as well. I don't remember what it was, but this stuff is all readily available. The cold medicine anyway. I don't know about buying these in India or Nepal, so take them with you and your bandana so you can be kind of fashionable in hiding your mask. And also, because I got so sick, at no point in time did I ever regret taking my neti pot with me, because this is really useful, cleaning out the sinuses, the dust. Um, I was just very, very happy to have this with all of my respiratory problems there. So that is sort of a basic packing guide from my experience traveling through northern India and Nepal. So also what you need is earplugs. You must have earplugs and take a lot. Take like a carton of earplugs because India is kind of noisy, and it was not only did it make it a lot easier to sleep with earplugs, but also traffic is incredibly noisy, and everyone's honking all the time, and all of the little auto rickshaws and motorcycles make a lot of noise, and it's really crowded. And if you end up in one where there's like an engine right below your feet, it's just incredibly, just painfully noisy. So not only should you wear earplugs to help you sleep, but also take them with you when you're riding around to help protect your hearing from all of the noise on the road. Highly recommended. You really need earplugs. Hey, I wanted to continue with a few more things that I thought of that I'm packing for my trip to India that I forgot to mention. First of all, I have a cable lock. These are the kind of locks that you normally see people using on their bicycles. Whoops! Well, anyway, so a cable lock. And it was suggested to me when riding the trains, to lock your luggage to your seat so that it doesn't get taken. I was riding 2AC class, and I did not feel like that was necessary. I felt safe enough there, and it seemed like everyone was playing, Tetris with their luggage, shoving it under everyone else's seats. So everyone's luggage was everywhere. I really didn't feel like it was particularly unsafe. But if you are, if you're not riding 2AC class on the train, maybe you do want a cable lock. I did see other people at the train station with locks on their luggage, long chain locks. So, maybe it's necessary in other classes on the train. Also, sometimes, if you're staying at like an ashram or someplace where you're sharing a room, you might want to lock your luggage closed and then lock your luggage like to something in the room. Also, carrying a small padlock, usually a padlock with a key. Now, many places, well, actually, pretty much everywhere that I saw in India and Nepal, doors were locked with padlocks. And here we're used to, you put your key in the door, in the knob, but there's a separate padlock that is used to lock the door. And so if you're staying in ashrams, they might want you to bring your own padlock to lock your own door. And you can buy padlocks there, but it's much easier if you can just pack it with you and have it ready so you don't have to spend half your day wandering around looking for padlocks and chain locks and stuff like that. So especially if you're staying in ashrams, take a padlock. I'm going to be staying in an apartment this time. I don't know if I will need a padlock. I'll ask. But also with the chain lock as well, I had some extra luggage, and when I was in Shanghai, my luggage lock broke, But thankfully I had the cable lock and I was able to lock my luggage back up using an improvised setup using the cable lock. Very helpful. Um, Another important thing, baby wipes. This is an old camping trick, an old Burning Man trick that I learned. If you're going to be traveling and you like to bathe, but you don't know if you're going to have access to water, take baby wipes. They can be used as, a bath substitute. You can, wipe down your whole body, clean your whole body with these. These I carry in my carry-on luggage on the plane because, coming from North America, you end up with like 20, 25-hour flights. So usually it's like one long 12-hour flight and then like a shorter 6-hour flight, something like that. So I packed baby wipes so I can give myself a bath in the bathroom. Same thing on the trains as well. If you're traveling on the trains in India, take the baby wipes. Much easier to clean yourself, to stay clean, especially if it's like hot and sweaty and you're feeling gross. You go, you change your clothes, you give yourself a baby wipe bath, and you feel better. You can also get face wipes as well that are specific. I mean, you can use these on your face if you're okay with that, but they do. There is facial wipes, facial cleanser wipes available as well. Highly recommend both. I carried both with me. It's really, really helpful. So those are my suggestions. Oh, also, what really saved my ass was having a PayPal debit card. And if you have a PayPal account, you get a PayPal debit card. If you don't have a PayPal account, get one. Or if all of your friends use some other system, like American Express has one called Serve.com, and there's some other ones where you can get debit cards attached to this online payment system. This was really useful because for some reason when I was traveling in India and Nepal, in the airports, I could not use my regular bank debit card, which was a Visa. I don't know what the problem was, but they would run it through and they're like, oh, no, it doesn't work. And so I had no idea what was up with that. But the PayPal debit card is a MasterCard, and I don't know if being a MasterCard makes it better for international travel. Also, if you end up stranded somewhere like me, where I got stranded in Shanghai, you can call up or text up or email your friends and be like, hey, I'm stranded in Shanghai and they want me to pay, this amount of money. The cops need 500 of whatever Chinese currency. Can you send me the money? And they can just PayPal it to you. It works as a credit card or an ATM card. And thankfully, I had, my friends, they all sent me a lot of money. So not only could I pay, for all the fees, but I could also like buy some food and buy beer because I ended up sleeping overnight in the Shanghai airport. So those are my suggestions for packing for India, and I am looking forward to going back. I'm going back in July, and I hope you have a wonderful trip when and if you go as well. Please let me know if you do.